You're listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
It is Monday, May 6th. Back in after the weekend.
Yeah.
Are you recovered from the weekend? You were busy.
No,
it sounds
I
like.
was busy.
Busy.
Yeah.
I'll busy.
Recover maybe by next week. I don't know.
I got to go to the Christian Friends of New Americans
I saw that
5K yesterday.
Yeah, there's
That
some
was
fun pictures on Facebook.
Yeah, it was a great race. Good, supporting a good cause here in St. Louis. And the Reverend Dr. Steve Shave and Deaconess Shave were both there. Humanity represented, and LCMS City Mission and Mission Field Podcast, Mission Field USA. He's the host of that.
Oh, yeah,
and then
the May one dropped last week.
That's right. And so he was, I was running side by side with him during the 5K, and then I realized I'm not going to be able to keep up with him for the rest of the run. And
he's fast.
Yeah, he's
Iron Man fast.
Yes. Yeah. So it was good, and supporting Christian Friends of New Americans, outstanding. Dr. Stanley was there.
The whole crew.
Yeah, the whole director, and our friend Joni Harwell representing CFNA. So it was good to get out there with them and get a little sunshine too, and enjoy the non-raining weather here in St. Louis.
Yeah, we found the flooding on the bike trail.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. And be wise, the rivers, I don't know if they've crested yet or not around here. I think that was
Well, we're getting more rain this week too.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So be wise around those streams and places where streams don't usually occur, but now they are.
Yeah, like the bike paths that are now
Be
rivers.
very mindful, be safe about that, folks. Two great topics on deck. It is National Teacher Appreciation Week.
It is.
So we're going to chat about our favorite teachers, those who influenced us most in just a little bit, and what's going on with scouting in the United States, and a new opportunity, a group that started in the last decade, I'll say that, and has really been picking up. I want to share about Trail Life USA in just a moment here as well. Thanks to Concordia University, Wisconsin for supporting the Coffee Hour. Find out more about Concordia University, Wisconsin at cuw.edu. Joining us this morning, Mark Hancock. He's CEO for Trail Life USA. Mark, thanks so much for being our guest on the Coffee Hour today.
Good morning, Andy. It's great to be here.
Now, scouting programs have provided meaningful and faithful character development for boys in our nation for a long time. I remember being a Cub Scout way back in the day, many years ago, but unfortunately didn't stick with it. But scouting also has seen some changes throughout, especially throughout the last decade as well. But how have you seen, Mark? How have you seen scouting programs provide that meaningful and faithful character development for boys?
Well, it's amazing what you can do in the outdoors. The outdoors is a great level playing field for boys becoming men. And when you put boys in the outdoors with men, it's we like to say that this is the first generation being raised by Google. but if you put a boy and his dad, or a boy and some experienced men out in the wilderness, it's very difficult to ask Siri how to start a fire. So that's a great environment for men to once again take that position where they can be respected and looked up to and understood. They have wisdom and experience that a young man doesn't have. So it's a great place for boys to be mentored and discipled by men.
Absolutely. It does a lot. We've talked about this before. It does so much for the mental health, overall mental health, mental and emotional health for adults, and also especially for kids too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And there's so many areas where kids compete, and they're not doing it. They're not being encouraged to compete, but there is real competition that boys do. Boys are built for risk and competition, and when you see them in a school environment, if a young boy just can't quite connect there, either academically or in sports or whatever, he needs a place to be an expert. And the outdoors doesn't have the sort of requirements in order to excel out there that you have maybe to be good at sports, or maybe that you intellectual leanings you may have to make you good at school. If you go in the outdoors and you work at it and you study it, you can learn things in the outdoors. Like I said, it's a level playing field. So a boy who's not excelling in other areas, he can get out there and find out that that's something that he can do better than his friends. And he can come back and he can talk about maybe a hiking experience, an outdoor experience, or whitewater rafting, or something that he's learned in the outdoors, and he really finds his place in his world.
And that continues through to adulthood too. My husband, when he goes out mountain biking and learns a new skill, he comes back and he's all excited about that. So that's
chiefly how not to die.
Yes, that is true. But that's a skill that they can take with them through the rest of their adulthood then too.
Absolutely. And not only that, but men who are looking for a way to get active in their church, and men who are looking for a way to serve God actively, when they take those skills that they learn in the outdoors, they can get involved with the troop, with the Trail Life USA troop, and they can mentor young men in the outdoors. Whereas you may walk into a church and the only opportunities you have is to be, an usher or maybe help out in the children's church, or maybe do a weekend project or something like that. This is a ministry that you can embrace, and on a regular basis you can pour into the lives of young men, and you can make a generational difference for the kingdom.
How have Christian congregations been a key part, or key partners for scouting programs throughout, I would say, particularly here in North America and the United States? How have congregations been a part of scouting?
Well, you're asking a historical question there, so let me provide the foundation for it. The Boy Scouts of America is about 108 years old, and they started with Christian ideals. And they were started in an environment, in a culture that you understood that the ideals that they were expressing were Christian and biblical ideas. However, as the culture changed, those ideals became more and more separated from the Christian underpinnings that they had. And so they just became good ideas or morals or ethics. And so along the way, somehow Boy Scouts kind of left their moorings of their Christian ideals, and the churches became a place for that scouting troop to meet. And so it would be on Tuesday nights in the basement, this group would meet. But there was no connection with the church because Boy Scouts had ceased to become a Christian organization. And that's one of the reasons that Trail Life USA was founded about 5 years ago, when we recognized that the Boy Scouts were really moving in a direction, the membership standards and everything were changing. It was going to become more and more difficult for LCMS and other churches to be involved with Boy Scouts because of the moral direction that they were taking. So in Trail Life USA, the churches are very actively involved with the troops. And we consider our troops an outreach of that local church. And we only charter with churches. We only have churches. I should say there's a few minor exceptions, but they are Christian organizations, maybe a Christian Homeschool Association or something like that. But 99% of our troops are chartered by churches. And they are an active outreach, I guess is the best word that I can use, because you can invite a boy all day to come to Sunday school or whatever, and he may or may not come. But if a boy who's in Trail Life invites that boy to come to his troop, or to come to his hiking, they're doing hiking this week, or backpacking, or whitewater rafting, or zip lining, or something, that boy's going to show up, and that unchurched boy joins that troop, and then that unchurched family joins the church. So I give you a historical background, because scouting started connected to Christianity 100 years ago. It drifted away from its involvement with the church, but Trail Life USA has restored the fact that the biblical underpinnings of Trail Life USA make it a great partner for the churches, because we're about the same mission.
How much oversight or direction do those churches have in their chartered troops?
They have a lot of flexibility. We're trans-denominational, different faith traditions. We do have a Trinitarian statement of faith, which is basically kind of a Nicene creed. And so any church that can agree with that Trinitarian statement of faith. And then we also have a statement of values that talks about things like definition of marriage and integrity and stewardship and service and purity and those kind of things. If a church can agree with us on those causes, then they can charter a troop in Trail Life USA. So we have numerous denominations and faith traditions that are part of Trail Life USA, from Protestant churches to independent churches to Catholic churches, LCMS churches. We really cover the spectrum, because we do allow so much program flexibility. Now, there's some things that are the same. If you're going to work on your hiking badge, or your camping badge, or your backpacking badge, or your American Heritage badge, those are going to be the same no matter what denominationally. But when you get over into values badges, then our values badges allow the churches to cater to deliver and to deal with their own theology and their own doctrine in the delivery of those badges. So we offer a lot of flexibility there. We haven't found any churches that have had challenges with our program from any denomination, as long as they can agree with a statement of faith. So underneath the umbrella of the statement of faith, we have a lot of flexibility for the local churches to operate their program.
What about congregations that are looking at making that transition from Boy Scouts to Trail Life? How smooth is that transition?
Oh, we try to make it as easy as possible. Honestly, the hardest part ends up being the part that you would think is the easiest. The hardest part is understanding the Christ-centered focus. We are unapologetically Christian and are boy-focused. And those are two principles which you just don't find in Boy Scouts anymore. They're not Christ-centered and they're not boy-focused. They now allow girls in the program, which we think is great for girls, but we think that boys and girls need their own program that's specifically focused on them. So when a Boy Scout troop moves over and becomes a Trail Life troop, the biggest challenge is understanding that, hey, we're not Boy Scouts. There's a lot of things that you'll find that kind of look the same at a quick glance, badges and uniforms and troops and patrols and the outdoor focus, but it really is back to the original plan of Boy Scouts, and the Christ-centered part of it is huge. We're not as awards-centric. We have a very robust awards program. We have our highest award is the Freedom Award, which is now colleges that are offering scholarships for Freedom Award recipients. So we have a great, robust awards program, but we're not an outdoor organization kind of having a Christian experience. We are at our core a Christ-centered mission that is using the outdoors. So a Boy Scout troop may say, well, we don't really like the direction the Boy Scouts is going in, so we're just going to take our Boy Scout troop and we're going to go over and become Trail Life. It's not really it. There's really a heart change, something that has to happen there. Those men who are leading that troop recognize this is different. This is about Jesus. And but from all other standpoints, we make it very easy. We allow boys to transfer their badges over. There's a lot of badges in Boy Scouts that will apply in Trail Life. They're not one-to-one because we started from scratch in developing our program, but there's a lot of skills they will have developed in Boy Scouts that they get credit for in badges that we have in Trail Life USA. So there's a nice transitional program to let the boys move over. There's a lot of similarities in terms of how the program is run, but the most difficult part is that core thing. We are a ministry that's doing big kingdom business, and secondary to that, although robust and a lot of fun, is all the adventure and advancement.
So it's not just a troop that happens to meet in the basement and really have no other connection to the church. It really is it really is a part of the congregation and the way the congregation serves in the community.
It really is. We have a number of positions that connect. We talk with the senior ministry leader at every organization. We have a phone call where we vet that organization, make sure we're on the same page, make sure that senior ministry leader, whether he's pastor, priest, whatever he is in that charter organization, understands the role of the troop and that it is an outreach of the church. And then we have a connecting person called the troop ministry liaison. And that person connects the troop to the church to make sure that the troop is active in the church projects, whether it's a service project or whether it's participating in the services or whatever it is that church is doing. And it also makes sure that the church is active in the troop projects and making sure that they're supporting them, whether it's financially or praying for them or making opportunities for them or providing leadership for them or volunteers for them. So we insist on that connection because we think the church is God's plan. We don't think that a scouting organization is God's plan, but we think that Trail Life can come alongside that local church and help build that church. And we're seeing that over and over again. Like I said, that unchurched boy will join the troop, and then that unchurched family will join the church, and we see that over and over again. Our
guest today, Mark Hancock, CEO of Trail Life USA. You can find him at traillifeusa.com. Thanks so much, Mark, for being our guest today on the Coffee Hour.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.